Hey guys, just checking I'm live on both Facebook and YouTube, which it seems I am. Anyway, hope these videos are recorded as well as possible, as I normally say. And anyway, it's your boy M.K.S here, back with another video, and welcome to part one of Black Thursdays, the very, as I call it. So yeah, my plans for empowering the Black community on Thursdays. And as I say, a lot of the ideas I cover could be applied to native people from across the Americas and neurodivergent people and POC as well, people of colour, minorities and whatnot as well. But yeah, can't think of too much to say for the intro, which is probably for the best. And now I probably think of loads of stuff I could cover. But anything I've forgotten, I'll try and cover either in part 2, 3, and 4. So yeah, here goes. So these are pointers number 1 to 10 as per usual. So here goes. So number 1, I'd love to support and empower and uplift Black people around the world in politics. So maybe building a political network. Maybe they can form their own political party or parties in the plural, or lobby together and that kind of thing. Number 2, I'd love to support Black people in tech, Black in tech, and that kind of thing. Number 3, talking about politics, I'd love to find out from Black people like what freedom means to them, and as individuals and possibly as a group and that kind of thing. And I suppose one of the reasons why I wish to support the Black community, that I talked about before, is because of their loss of liberty historically, like the fact they were colonized, enslaved, and things like that. Unfortunately, I'd love to support South Africa, especially on its Freedom Day. I can't remember when that is. I think it's the 27th of May or something like that. It's either in April or May or something, sometime like that. So, but yeah, I love to support African countries on their independence days and things like that. Again, for the Black community, talking about what freedom means to them. Also, I'd love for tea companies, tea brands, to invest in the Black community, especially in tech, supporting Black people in tech. I'll drink that, as I say, but yeah, companies like PG Tips, Tetley, and others donating a percentage of their profits, like 10% of their profits, to support Africans, especially in tech, and Black people around the world in tech. And also, like they have Macmillan mornings for like coffee mornings to tackle, like fundraise to tackle cancer and that kind of thing, they could do similar, or like for supporting African tech, so they could donate. So they could have tea mornings and even tea afternoons and things like that, afternoon high tea and that kind of thing. But they could donate a percentage of their profits or whatever, or the profits for those coffee mornings or tea mornings, rather. They could donate all of that towards the empowerment of Black people in tech, especially in Africa. And I'd love to support Aboriginals in tech as well, and Black people on board, and that kind of thing. But yeah, for them to talk about what freedom means to them. Number 4, please forgive me for being lazy, but I suppose especially my mum will forgive me, but I know people get annoyed with laziness. It feels like being lazy is, people see it as being worse than being like Hitler or something sometimes. But I think, like, if you look at a lot of people who are really hardworking, they're not necessarily nice people, and you probably never find a person who's more lazy and laid back than me a lot of the time. But at the same time, you probably won't find a person who's nicer than me. So that tells me that, in my opinion, being hardworking does not make you a nice person. In fact, I think a lot of times it's probably the opposite. So a lot of people say it's a virtue and all that kind of thing. Whatever a virtue is, whatever it means. Patience is another virtue I don't have. But yeah, I didn't. The reason why I say that is, sorry, getting to the point, is because, or trying to at least, is that I didn't. I was going to Hoover today, but because I got late waking up, I have insomnia, so I struggled to go to sleep, and then I struggled to wake up, and then I wanted to go through my paperworks and my clothes and stuff like that, and organise them in a certain way, and that kind of thing, my patterns, like certain clothes that remind me of certain days, or whatever. I didn't really get around to it, and I don't think I'm going to, but I wanted to go. I'm going to this film making group, so I think I'm going to have to even miss out on my granddad now. But if I have a shower earlier, I I guess it will refresh me if I go for a walk in a shower. That will replace a nap because it sort of refreshes you. Yeah, nice try now. But so yeah, please forgive me. But I suppose I probably give too much info away as well. But in terms of like saying these things that no one needs to know. But yeah, I don't know if my mom's going to forgive me. But yeah, talking about forgiveness, like I think if you look at POC and the black community, they are quite forgiving. I was thinking of how well, I don't know about that, but they could always, like, people accuse them of having a chip on their shoulder, whatever that means. I don't know if that's the term they use just in Britain, but chip on, I think the Americans use that as well, like chip on their shoulder or chip on their back or whatever. And being angry and bitter and vengeful. But if you look at it, like, they could always bear grudges and carry those grudges. But it seems like I think most black people don't really talk much about slavery, colonialism, and that kind of thing. Or maybe they do, but in many ways, many will say it was in the past and that kind of thing. But I'd love to know what you think, as ever. But I know I'm talking about controversial topics. And talking about controversial topics, I just remember like how I normally say about how I don't think black people, POC, minorities, and groups like that, including neurodivergent people, I don't believe we should join the military. I don't believe we or they should join the military. Like POC, I believe instead we should support our own communities, like run in groups and make sure we protect each other from racism. And even if people like blame us, I think the people who should join the military are people like, some people say they're now defunct, but like the EDL, the English Defence League, maybe the SDL, the Scottish Defence League, people in Northern Ireland who also might be patriotic and proud, that kind of thing. Well, maybe not always, but people who are like pro-royalist, and like people from like the BNP. Again, people might say now defunct BNP, or people who support reform or whatever, which is their choice. I don't disagree with their choice, and I think they have a right to protect their country, as every country does. But yeah, I think POC should boycott militaries and instead support our own people, like support South Africa, have events in South Africa and things like that. I'd love for POC and other minorities to say, including obviously black people, saying that, and especially my fellow mutts, saying like support right to resist and go against militarism and that kind of thing. But well, I should be careful what I say. I don't mean against the right to defend yourself, but I think instead of supporting like wars and militaries and things like that, we should support countries that are colonising Africa. But again, these are my personal views using freedom of speech and freedom of expression. I think so many people talk about freedom of speech and freedom of expression. I probably should have said it in point number 3, but and on that note, please feel free to disagree as ever. But I think when it counts, this is when people disagree with your opinion. So pretty much anyone can probably support freedom of speech when it's something you agree with. Like, well, yeah, funny enough, I support that person's right to say that because I agree with it anyway. But it's when it's something you don't agree with, like somebody says, you know, I'm a big supporter of the military, or I don't agree with your opinion, but I'll support it, I'll defend your right to it, which is supposedly what the military is supposed to be about, defending freedoms and all that kind of thing. But so many people on the right talk about like how the left don't want to support freedom of speech and freedom of expression and general freedoms and all that kind of thing. But at the same time, I think they only support freedom of speech when it suits them. Like I heard something about when they did Black Lives Matter, and I was thinking like I was going to say how Black Lives Matter and obviously BLM for sure and all that kind of thing, and groups like that, and Black History Month and all that kind of stuff is all political, I guess. Some people say Black Lives Matter is a Marxist group. I don't know if I always agree with their policies. Maybe it should be like more black politicians matter, black technologists matter, black business matter, and that kind of thing. But it's all kind of political, even supporting black-owned businesses. But I would normally say the business stuff I like to focus on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays, and startups and SMEs specifically on Saturdays and Sundays, as I normally say. But yeah, I think that so many, like they were talking about Black Lives Matter, and they said that so a footballer who disagrees to take the knee would probably be called out, and people wonder why you haven't done it and all that kind of thing. They'd be ostracised for it or whatever. I can't remember if that's the exact word they used. But at the same time, like presenters, they wear the poppy. And if a presenter said, I don't want, in fact, Jon Snow, who used to present the snow, used to present the weather, no, the news, perhaps he should present the weather, used to not wear the poppy on TV. And he said when he was presenting the news, he wanted to do it neutrally, and he got a lot of stick for it. But I wonder if celebrities came out and said, "I don't want to support the poppy," or "I don't want," or "I think it glorifies war," or "I don't agree with it." But you can do it if you want. I wonder if they would be ostracised and that kind of thing, and outcast and whatnot. So people say they support freedom of speech and expression, but when it doesn't suit them, they don't seem to do it, both whether they're right or left wing, in my opinion. But again, please feel free to let me know what you think. I'll be too harsh. I've heard people being polite, but you can post whatever you want, as far as I'm concerned. I always love for people to be as free as possible, which is something I wanted to say about freedom. I suppose I could have said in point number 3, but I'm going to say in point number 7. But moving on, number 5, I'd love to support black ambition, goal setting, aims, objectives, and whatnot. On Thursdays, I normally think like goal setting. In this case, the black community set goals, and again, that could apply to black ambition, but also Native people from across the Americas with their ambitions, so Native American ambition and that kind of thing, and neurodivergent people's goals, aims, ambitions, and whatnot, and POC people of color as well. Generally, number 6, I'm going to say, right, if you've seen my other videos, you'll know about Italian football. I love to see what the black community and Native people from across the Americas and neurodivergent people can contribute to the Italian football, to teams like Milan, Torino, and other Italian teams, and obviously from a bias point of view, but working hard together as hard as necessary. But on that note, number 7, only as hard as necessary. But what I was thinking about, I could have said this in point number 3. I think AI, and tying it to the community, to like the subject, like black and Native American and Native people from across the Americas and neurodivergent people and POC working on AI and whatnot. Let's say African countries working together on AI, it could unite them through tech. I'd love to see them united through tech. But I think AI could be the most destructive and terrible invention ever, and it could be really awful for humanity. It probably will be, unfortunately, but it could be. It doesn't mean it will, but hypothetically, AI could be the most freeing, basically liberating, in better English or whatever, freeing, liberating, whatever term you want to use, invention ever. It could set us free. I can't think of anything that could be more freeing up, liberating, basically, simply freeing, liberating, or whatever you want to call it, than AI, if done right, because it could do all the rubbishy jobs that many of us don't like doing. And if you like those jobs, you can also do them. If you enjoy using your hands to make things, it could be something that you think, oh, actually, I want to do gardening. I don't want a robot to do it for me. I like emptying sheds, or I like filling things, or doing things, or decluttering, or hoarding, or whatever it might be. Or I like organising myself, or I like to write, even though I can't write properly. Even though I have poor handwriting and terrible punctuation, worse punctuation. And even though some people can't even read my writing, I can barely read my own sometimes. I love the process of writing, especially on whiteboards. I don't know why, but if people said I could just write on a whiteboard and they didn't criticise my punctuation and handwriting and whatever, I think that'd be pretty cool. So you know what to get me for Christmas. But on a serious note, or my birthday or whatever, even though I don't celebrate birthdays, but maybe I would if I got like a whiteboard. But I love to write on whiteboards or whatever. For some reason, I don't know why. There's something really enjoyable about doing that while I'm talking about my mad ideas or whatever. Even though I can be sometimes a bit secretive with some of my ideas, but I think AI could be the most. I'm thinking of the word freeing, but liberating, I think, is a proper English term. It could be the most liberating invention ever, because it could do all these things we don't want to do. So for people who don't like gardening, don't like cleaning or tidying, or whatever it might be, I don't know why anyone, for instance, would enjoy cleaning toilets. I would think that's a bit weird. Why would you enjoy it? I know sometimes you have to pay your bills, and that's the thing. People might say, well, what about if it takes our jobs? Some people might say it's scaremongering and AI is not really going to do all that stuff, and it's just people saying this. Like one of my mates said, that's just an excuse. Like you thought I was just saying that as an excuse. I'm just quoting what other people say. If I was free, I wouldn't do a job, but I wouldn't steal or break the law, and I wouldn't be on benefits either. I'd find a different way to make money, but I'm too lazy to run a business or whatever. I wouldn't. I know I've been talking about, and sorry for repeating myself, but that's ever. But if black people work together around the world, I wonder if that could make their life easier, if they trust each other and build each other and that kind of thing. I've got a t-shirt I'm going to show in a second, but in a minute or so maybe. But know me, but I'll try and get to the point. But yeah, if they work together, maybe they could make life easier rather than harder. And I suppose some people might try and scam people and things like that, but short-term growth, if you want to build for long, once you rip people off and all that kind of thing. I mean, people say like people like Bill Gates or people like that rip people off and then stab people in the back, unfortunately, and what not. If I'm honest, I should be careful what I say, because if he joins a neurodiverse network, he's a great guy. Apparently, he's got someone, supposedly, and possibly ADHD as well. But yeah, I wonder if they work together, they can make life easier, and also like things like AI apps, websites, and things like that, and learning from each other. Could they make life easier for each other? I like it, nice and easy. But yeah. So yeah, I think that AI could be the most liberating invention ever. It could do all our rubbishy jobs and set us free. A lot of people are using it to invest, for instance. I know you've got to be careful with that. The investment go up and down. I think you need to do your due diligence, research, homework, as they might say, if you want to call it that, or whatever. Not like in school, but actually like really doing your own research and maybe finding out from different people and taking a bit different advice. You can't take everyone's advice. Like some people might say get a job, some people might say run a business. Some people might even try and get you into peer pressure to steal or do bad things, generally, or whatever. So you can't listen to all of them. If Joe Bloggs says get a job and Ted Bloggs says you just set up a business and learn to invest and things like that, or whatever, and someone else says do YouTube or TikTok, which mine doesn't, you can't listen to them all. You can't please everyone all the time. You've got to take what bits of advice work for you, I guess. But again, as ever, I'd love to know what you think. But yeah, I wonder if by working together, building certain AI, robotics especially, I get, as I said before, I get those mixed up quite a lot. Apps, websites, and whatever else. I wonder if they can make life easier for each other, and even like just subscribing to each other's YouTube and TikTok. Also, Celtic. I'm a little bit off track, but I support Celtic as a POC, and I'm say my lame thing about people might call me a POS sometimes. Well, probably true, but I'm a bit of a B or whatever, or an a-hole or whatever. But well, not really. Just in a sense, I'm always trying to be nice, but in the sense that I'm very laid back in many ways. I don't have a hard working bone in my body. Just I'm also very open and honest if I can be. Normally, sometimes I'm too spineless to be, but I normally say like I'm allergic to hard work. I'm allergic to water, vegetables. Even though I'm vegetarian. My mum says, "How can a vegetarian be averse to eating vegetables and all that kind of, if I get ill, I guess it is my own fault, if I'm honest, whether I like to admit it or not. Yeah, it's like someone says, I don't mean to be funny, but same guy said about making an excuse about AI taking jobs and whatever. I was just quoting what people say, like they say 50% of jobs are going to be going in 2 or 3 years, not like in 10, 15 or 20 years, but just in 2 or 3 years. But that could be so liberating for some people, like when they lose their job or their sexual goes bad, they might set up a business and be like, oh, actually, I've never been more free. So it could work for some people, maybe not for everyone, but hopefully it will. I doubt it, but I'd love for it to liberate everyone to say, let's do what we actually enjoy. I'm funny like that. I'm a bit of a beep. I'll just say a person without, another word for a person without a father. I normally spell it out. I'm a bit of a BASTARD in that regard. But he said, like, I forgot to finish my point, as I often do, but he said, like, my mate Hardy, I won't say his full name, but just in case he doesn't want me to, but he said, and he has some great advice, but a lot of time I think I'm not going to change my diet at this age, so I don't want to, I sort of want to say it, but I don't want to be rude like that. I don't want to waste your time. But yeah, hopefully we might be mentioning us, I won't say his full name, but after meeting him in the gym or different places, and he said about, like, I don't mean to be funny, but you seem to be proud about it, but it's not about being proud, it's about being honest. It's like, I'm an AI Anglo-Indian, that is, and I'm not saying that AIs, as in Anglo-Indians, are better than other people. I'm just saying that's what I am. Like being a dyslexic, neurodiverse person, that's what I am. You are what you are. So I don't have a hard working bone in my body. If I was free, as I would see it, what I define freedom, I wouldn't work hard at all. I'd work smart. I'd do what I love. I'd write, I'd make videos and things like that, and probably do a few nefarious activities legally. I don't know if I'm using the right term, but they might not be kosher for everyone. But anyway, I think I've covered that point enough detail. One big thing before I move on to point number 8. Sorry, I'm waffling away, but Celtic playing tonight. I'm not really bothered about European games. I just hope, I thought I'd mention them as they're playing tonight. So I thought I'd wait till today instead of, I was going to cover them a bit more yesterday. I'd love for them to be world class, as yesterday was Wednesday. I perhaps could have covered more about Celtic, but I thought I'd wait till today. But I was thinking, like, as this Christmas just under a month away, so I don't mind anyone if they don't like Christmas. But I thought, dear Santa, I would love to get loads of great players for Italian teams and for Celtic. The only time where I'd want Celtic to lose or even be thrashed is when they play an Italian team like Bologna, or I think they're going to play, and especially Roma. I don't really mind if they get thrashed in those games, but if they give a good account themselves, I'd play more of the youth players and fringe players in youth games. I mentioned before, bringing it back to the Black Diaspora, there's someone who made a video about, I mentioned it recently, but about why I, as a black guy, he put it, support Celtic. And I do as an anti-imperialist and a POC, and I think POC should support them. Obviously, for our rivals, the rankers, as I call them, might be the same word, but they would probably say POSs, but then we call them POSs or whatever. Anyway, but yeah, I was thinking about it would be interesting. We're getting a new manager. Funny enough, a black guy, as it happens, from France, and I really hope he does well. We call him Brother Walfred, because that was our founder as well. His name is Walfried or something like that. But I hope the crowd sings his name and gets behind him and says Brother Walfred, and shouts out, "Oh, Brother Walfred," whenever we play a game. But I hope he comes in on the 1st of December, like a new manager for a new month, and I hope we get some great signings, and I hope he does really well, and Celtic can win as many trophies as possible, and hopefully the Rankers will never win any trophies, but hopefully we'll win all trophies domestically at least. But I hope we'll focus on that, and I'd love for Celtic to get a treble. Again, a bit off topic, but I love for black people to support Celtic and POC to support Celtic. Bring it back to the topic. I suppose I could have covered Celtic yesterday, because I think 26 number reminds me of reparations, and I think about Celtic and reparations, and also, as it was a Wednesday, world-class Celtic, but coulda, shoulda, woulda. Anyway, moving on, number 8. Again, I wonder if black people work together, they can help each other and motivate and inspire each other and support each other on YouTube, TikTok, and things like that. And work together, like POC working together against white supremacy and that kind of thing. Asian and African nations improving relations, POC supporting each other, and maybe using white supremacy as a thing that makes us unite together more, like using nationalism as something to say we're going to support each other more instead of supporting militarism, support each other. And I'd love to have my own creative rooms, and I'd love for black people to have their own creative rooms to work together in business and tech and different areas like that. As I say, normally I don't think of the business stuff too much on Thursdays, but I guess it is all kind of political and controversial in its own way. But I was thinking Bologna and AC Milan have the same similar symbol, because both were founded with English sort of connections as well. That was a side note. But one of my sisters got me this. I was finding this as I was going through my clothes recently, and being disorganised, but I found this. It says, "I've got your back," and it's got a picture of a guy taking this guy's back, and it reminds me of obviously the saying, "I've got your back," means I support your neck. Maybe on that note, black people could have each other's backs and not scam each other, but build together and help life be easier in the longer term as well as the short term. And as they build together, although I'm not the most patient, like I want things done straight away, but I think if you rip people off, it could backfire. But yeah, I was thinking this reminds me sort of and I wanted to show my mum's ex-boyfriend this, but I thought I'd show it in the video. But this reminds me of something I saw from the Dyslexic Advantage, where this I think it was an entrepreneur with dyslexia who said, again going a little bit off topic, but he is on the neurodiversity sort of thing, but he said that, because dyslexia comes under neurodiversity as far as I'm aware, but he said, we had the teachers back. No, I think that was a poet, actually. I think it was Philip Schultz, or whatever his name is. He said, we have the teachers back, and he said, when Obama says we have the teachers back, when Obama says they got our back, he meant something different, but we have the teachers back, as in the teachers didn't care about us. And for people with dyslexia and other neurodiverse conditions as well, we've got to go out and build our own systems, because the school system and the regular workplace, I don't think, work towards our strengths. So I think we should invest together and learn from each other and make life easier for each other rather than harder. And again, similar for the black community, I think they should use the hate to say we're going to show what we can do. I saw a video where this guy said, a black guy himself, he said, we haven't built anything in a country that's founded by black people. And we haven't built anything, but I think black people should come together and prove any critics or doubters, even in their own community, wrong, especially haters, and all that kind of thing. Call them dumb and thick and lazy and whatever else. Number 9, I love sport. As per usual, I love sport projects from black-owned people, like whether that's in politics, writing, poetry, art writing, what I call poor, and all sorts of different areas, engineering and things like that, for instance. And number 10, I'd love to support young people. Maybe more young black people could be supported to learn about and get into politics. But as ever, I'd love to know what you think. Sorry, I took ages to get to the point, and I don't know if I even got to the point in the end, but I'm out.